Are you feeling overwhelmed about starting an intuitive eating practice? Believe me, I get it. It seems like a lot to take on, mastering 10 principles while trying to change the way you think about food. However, it is not as hard as it seems. So today I'm giving you my top 3 tips to starting an intuitive eating practice. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Annie Rubin. I am a registered dietitian nutritionist, and I work with clients who are trying to manage autoimmune or inflammatory conditions, and kind of the symptoms that come along with that. Things that include pain, fatigue, digestive challenges, and just to reduce quality of life. So in my work with my clients, I help them implement a personalized nutrition roadmap designed to improve mobility, concentration, energy levels, and to ultimately help them live a vibrant and fulfilling life. So before I jump into my top 3 tips, I just need to attach a disclaimer to this video that the information in today's talk is not the substitute for the diagnosis, treatment, or care of disease by a medical provider. This is for informational purposes only. So please consult your qualified health professional for any changes to your medical care. My first tip to starting an intuitive eating practice is pay attention to your hunger. Oh my goodness, this seems so basic, but it is not. If you have been a chronic dieter or someone that emotionally eats, over time you lose that ability to sense your hunger. This happens because you either ignore the fact that you're hungry because of certain food rules that you follow, like you can't eat 1 hour after eating, you have to wait, exactly 4 hours. Or you follow some sort of, fasting guidelines where you can't eat until, noon. Or you eat whenever you feel like you need comfort or an emotional release. So the bottom line is, the longer you have ignored those hunger signals, the less in tune you are with them. One of the best ways to get back in touch with the feeling of hunger is to use a hunger journal and a hunger scale. So a hunger scale ranks hunger on a scale essentially from 0 to 10. 0 being absolutely famished to the point where you want to gnaw your arm off, you're so hungry, to 10 where you are so uncomfortably full, you feel like you're going to burst. So the journal, on the other hand, acts as your accountability buddy. So you can use it to track how hungry and full you are before and after meals. So ideally, you want to eat when you're on, according to the hunger scale, you want to eat when you're around a 3. And you want to stop eating when you're around a 7. So a 3 is when you are noticeably hungry and your stomach is kind of starting to gurgle. A 7 is where you're comfortably full, not to the point of being stuffed, but to where you are definitely not hungry anymore and you're starting to feel satisfied. So using the journal, it forces you to check in with yourself every time you are about to eat. Every single time you're about to put a piece of food in your mouth, you stop and you say, how hungry am I? I also like to add a mood column to my journal so I can track reasons for eating when I'm not exceptionally hungry. My second tip is to notice how foods make you feel. So as you start to use the journal more, you can write down what you are eating. And this is helpful for a few reasons. First, you can start to understand what foods make you feel satisfied and full, and which foods leave you feeling hungry soon after eating. Everyone is different, so certain foods really satisfy people and leave them feeling very satiated, while other foods may not do that for the same person. Second, if you are dealing with inflammation, you can start to notice which foods make you feel energized and which foods make you feel like you're flat and kind of not feeling great. So this is an excellent way to start to recognize your trigger foods or foods that might be triggering inflammation. Third, after a while, you may start to notice patterns in the foods you eat and how you are feeling. So I use this journaling method also for elimination diets when my clients are trying to figure out what their food triggers are. But this is also really helpful to use when you are learning to become an intuitive eater. So for instance, you may notice that coconut, which is a typically anti-inflammatory food, may be causing you brain fog or bloating. And so you want to kind of take a step back and maybe pull that out from your diet to see if that makes you feel better. So noticing how foods make you feel can do wonders for your health and well-being, especially if you're battling with inflammation. If foods don't make you feel great, or you still have that decision to eat them or not. It doesn't mean that they are, bad or off limits. However, knowing how you react to certain foods gives you the power to choose whether or not you feel like managing the after effects or not. My third and final tip for starting an intuitive eating practice is to give yourself permission to eat all foods. This is probably one of the most difficult ones that people face because it's really hard. Based on kind of our diet culture, we are told not to eat certain foods. Certain foods are bad. Other foods are good. We put them in these black and white categories. But being an intuitive eater means that you are giving yourself permission to eat all foods. This doesn't mean that you have to eat all foods, but by doing this, the novelty of the off-limit or bad foods goes away. So think about it this way. Let's say brownies are your trigger foods. You cannot keep brownies in the house because you literally can't control yourself around them. Then one day, your neighbor drops off a fresh batch of warm, amazingly smelling brownies. Within minutes, they are gone. You've eaten the entire pan. This is because you place brownies on a pedestal. Now, if you were to give yourself permission to eat brownies and you are allowed to eat them whenever you want, that novelty disappears. Sure, you may go crazy for the first few days and eat brownies around the clock, but eventually those brownies are not going to taste as good as you think they do, and you'll probably not feel great after eating a ton of brownies. So by giving yourself permission to eat all foods, it breaks that vicious binge restrict cycle that dieting puts us on. We all want what we can't have, right? So if you can have it, there is no need to binge on these foods anymore. Becoming an intuitive eater takes time and practice, but if you focus on these three elements, tapping into your hunger, noticing how foods make you feel, and giving yourself permission to eat all foods, you will be well on your way to a solid intuitive eating practice. So for more tips on intuitive eating or on the anti-inflammatory diet or ways to manage your autoimmune or inflammatory conditions, click the subscribe button below. I post videos around every week or so stay tuned for more great information about how you can use diet and lifestyle to help you feel better. Thanks for watching.